Hey guys, what's up? So this is an introduction video. I want to just let you know a little bit about myself and just my whole journey as it relates to the kingdom lifestyle. So my name is Rachel Russell, also known as the Lioness Woman, and I believe that my mission here upon the earth is to train and activate the saints of God into their God-given purpose while teaching them how to live a kingdom lifestyle. And so you may be wondering, well, how did you get to that place? How did you get to the space of wanting to help people come into their space of purpose and also to be able to teach them this lifestyle of the kingdom that's just going to bring about this prosperity in their life? And so that's where my story begins. That's where my journey begins. As a young person or as a child, very young, around the age of 4, I was sexually abused by someone in our local church at that time. And then coming into my adolescent years, I was also actually abused then as well. And so in my early childhood, I really had a lot of mental things that I battled with. I was a quiet child and withdrawn, and I didn't really feel a part of the group, right? I always felt different because I had this awareness that others around me just didn't have. Moving into teenage years, that's when I started to date my first boyfriend, who was narcissistic. I think I've come to the place of saying he was a narcissist. But it's not from the place of wanting to put blame on him. I think he had his own stuff that he was dealing with. And so he was dealing with the situation with him and I the best way that he could have dealt with it. And so because of that, and I was in that relationship for about 6 years, it was a lot of breaking down, again, in terms of myself mentally. I had very low self-esteem. I did not see myself as pretty or beautiful. I felt I had no talents. I hated myself. I thought I was born in the wrong body because a lot of my personality traits were more masculine in terms of strategic thinking and how I approach things, and I wasn't necessarily very emotive. My favorite color wasn't pink. All of the stereotypes that comes with being a woman, I didn't necessarily fit into those stereotypes. I also remember that I got pregnant at 18 and I had an abortion, which was a traumatic type of experience in itself. And then I went on to university at 19 in Miami, and I was just so depressed and I felt so alone in that space that I started drinking and smoking a lot of weed, marijuana, Mary Jane, however you know it, and taking a lot of lost medication because I was overweight and I hated my body. And so there was a lot of self-hate that was taking place. I also was diagnosed with a medical condition when I was 15, which is called myasthenia gravis. And it's kind of like lupus, but instead of attacking the blood, I believe it attacks the muscles. And so I couldn't lift up a glass to drink water. That's how weak I was. I should talk like this all the time because my tongue was gone, and so I couldn't talk. My bladder went, so if I jumped too much or ran too much, I would like pee down myself or urinate myself. So teenage years were rough. Even though, like, surprisingly enough, like, I do have good memories from teenagehood, but it was a little rough, growing up. In university, because I was drinking so much and smoking weed and taking these weight loss medication, I ended up in a mental institution for a night because I had a total breakdown. And it was just a mess. And then I had to come back to Trinidad because of issues. We had to pay the fees, which is a whole other story in itself. And, I came back. I felt like a failure. I just didn't love myself. And in not loving myself, I just continued in practices that were just not healthy for me. I had a huge chip on my shoulder. I hated Jesus. I felt he was a white man God. And I remember, and a white man God that came to enslave black people. And I remembered a friend of mine was telling me about Jesus. And I said, listen, Jesus himself has to come and talk to me if I am going to believe in Jesus, yes? And so in this journey of just self-hate and just, drinking and smoking and just doing whatever it is to just numb just what I felt about myself, God sent a dream to me. And in sending that dream, my then boyfriend, who later became my husband, we got in a car crash in a dream, and then we went to this place which I now know is paradise. And in that space, you could have stayed for a little while, so you didn't get judged immediately. And so I remember being there and saying to myself, well, I haven't like abused any children and I haven't killed anybody, so I should be good. But as time went on in that space, I started to really evaluate my life, and I realized how wicked I was. And so when the time came for me to be judged, I remember going behind these curtains and I was trembling uncontrollably. And there was this huge angel before me, which I now realize was the angel of mercy. And I remember falling at his feet and saying, please forgive me. I'm so sorry. I will try to be better. And I remember he took my face and he looked me in my eyes. This isn't a dream. And he said to me, your time has not come as yet, but know that your time will come. And so I was free to leave, and other things happened, but I woke up, and that week, coincidentally, my then boyfriend was having his own damnation dreams, and so we decided together to go to church. And I was like, we need to go for a month. So, you can't just go to church once. I hope you hear that. You can't just go to church once and decide if it's for you, right? So we decided to go to church for a month and really learn about Christianity. And in doing that, I remember the last day that I was there, or the second to last service that I went to, this guy made this call, those who are down and who, you want to start anew and you want to start afresh, and, you just want prayer to be able to come past this and to come into this space with Christ for you guys to come up. And so I came up thinking it was prayer, and it ended up saying salvation prayer. And I was so pissed because I had a party to go to later that evening. And so I was so pissed that this guy fooled me, and I was quarreling with the salvation counselor and said, this is what you Christians do. You guys fool people and trick people. I was like, did I just get baptized? Like, what happened here? Like, I have a party to go to at the end of today. Like, I can't be doing whatever with Jesus, right? But then the Sunday, now, take into consideration, my then boyfriend also went up, and he had this joy and this peace. And, I was quarreling in the car going home, and he's like, Rachel, I know you're upset, but I just have so much peace, because he really didn't give his life to God. And so on the Sunday, I went back to church, and I was pissed and angry. And so I was like, thank God, this is the last service that I've committed myself to. But I sat down there, and there was this woman called Beverly Elaine who spoke on this topic of who told you. And it was from Genesis 3. And it was where God was talking to Adam and told him, who told you that you were naked? And she started to ask questions. Who told you you were ugly? Who told you you were not worth it? Who told you that you couldn't do this? Who told you you were a failure? And as she was speaking these words, it's almost like it was cutting through every issue, every insecurity, everything that at that time weighed me down. And I remember just being in that seat, and I could not move as I encountered the Holy Spirit. And tears was just streaming from my eyes. And even though they didn't make a salvation call, I didn't go up. But right there in that seat, I gave my life to Jesus. And I've had some journeys along the way since then, but it is a decision that I never forgot. That girl who was suicidal, because I did suffer with being very suicidal, that girl who had mental health issues, that girl who had physical issues, in terms of the autoimmune disease that she had, that girl who had no self-worth, that girl who found herself to be the ugliest thing, felt that she was in the wrong body, that girl was accepted by a God who she rejected, a God who she said could never be the true God. And so in that moment, I had an encounter that changed my life. Till today, 18 years later, I'm still happy of that commitment that I made then. And so that was my journey to salvation. I'm going to be talking to you guys more in terms of just some of the breakthroughs as I've had as it relates to the kingdom lifestyle, breakthroughs in terms of my mental health, breakthrough as it relates to losing weight on my physical body, breakthrough in my spirituality, breakthrough as it relates to relationships and being able to relate to people, breakthrough as it relates to understanding my identity. Like I'm gonna carry you through my life, people of God. Not I gave you the preview of what took place before, but I'm telling you, the drama is more even after Christianity, right? And that in each phase and in each stage of my life, God was there for me. And God taught me what it means to live the kingdom lifestyle in all facets of my life. So join me for this journey. I pray that my testimony was a blessing for someone. And if it is that you do not know Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, or if it is that you're struggling even now in your faith, or you're struggling just in terms of how you see yourself, remember the words who told you. And know that what God says about you is not what the enemy says about you. And so I want to encourage you to tap into what he's saying, because you are fearfully and wonderfully made in his sight. And begin to walk out your destiny in the fullness of his purpose for your life. So I hope you guys were blessed by this. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and to click that notification bell so that you'll be able to get any of our videos and you'll be able to be connected to what we're doing here at Kingdom Lifestyle TV. Thank you so much again for taking the time to listen, and I will see you guys and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.